Alright, welcome to my nightmare of Nissan diffs. We've got a combination of three different R200s here. We've got our S13 open diff, and we've got our 300ZX, a Z32 case with our internals of a 350Z axles and 350Z vlsd. What happened this weekend is originally I just wanted to get new bolts for the axle shafts because they're kind of bespoke to it. They've got a nice collar to thread length, and it just means when you're jamming on your car, it's not going to hammer the threads out and the bolts will come loose. You just kind of need that shank. I think mil spec is what the bolts are called. But yeah, I went to the auto wrecker, found a 300ZX. It's got the same bolts as the 6-bolt ones, the same size and thickness. They're just a 5-bolt style. Got one here, as you can see. Same 10 mil, same length. But took the bolts out and you went, you know what, fuck, I'll take the diff too. It was a low miles car because the 300ZX, something mechanically breaks. That's usually not some of the more robust parts, like the brakes, the diff, the transmission. It's usually something electronic with that engine. So it'll just go to scrap. Which, yeah, was the case. I think it had like 150,000 kilometers. So I went, you know what, that's a R8 VLSD. It felt a lot stronger than the one that was in this car because we just kind of, I spun it and went, yeah, they spin the same both ways. It's not an open diff. Good to go. It turns out that it is an open diff. I did all this work to an S13 open diff, which is most unfortunate. And it's just these make contact with the spider gears. So it kind of gave me the effect of it being a VLSD. And I think the guy said it was a VLSD, so I just went, yeah, all right. So yeah, because when I got this here, I was like, man, this locks up so much better than what I have. So it's like, you know what, maybe we'll go through the work and swap it over and look at what we have to do. I started swapping the diff covers over and then had a look in here and I went, there is no room for a VLSD in here. This is just a straight open. So we started going through the work of swapping in this diff, which we just swapped in our front plate, and then realized we need to do different axles. So I found a guy that was selling just loose axle stubs off of a 350Z and actually the VLSD locker, just that assembly. So yeah, you know what, $100, buy it both. Perfect. Got it here. And then was looking at the VLSD in the 300ZX and realized that there's a little Bellevue washer just hanging out in the middle in a place where there shouldn't really be anything. These should just be open, as there's nothing retaining this in. It's just slapping around. And also notice that there's a lot of kind of thick grease just in here. So this VLSD may be internally leaking, and it may be caused by this washer slapping around for who knows how long. It's still held all right, but it's still, this is in its coldest temp, so it's going to be very locked into each other. So that brought us to today. And since I had the VLSD out of the 350Z, we decided to try to get it inside the pumpkin that is the 300ZX. It was a lot of work to get to it. We had to mix match a bunch of our different shim washers, which are these guys here. One goes on that side, other one goes on this side here, and they put a bit of preload on your spider gears. And that's all they do, only preload on the spider gears. They don't add any more force to the actual VLSD. People that are shimming this, it doesn't do anything for you. This is basically a sealed unit with a slipper clutch on the inside of it from that to that. And that's your left side drive, and that's your right side drive, and it's separated from there. And when you're mashing it together, the load is on here. It's not on here at all. So it's not even preloading the VLSD anymore. It is just preloading your spider gears. So you're just fucking your diff by shimming it tighter. But yeah, we found a right combination. We did have to lathe out this side of the carrier to accept the bigger internal vlsd, as this one's really quite loose, although these are generically quite loose, even all together as new parts. Next we had to lay down the journals in here and in here, just by like a bit of a mill, because it's not a huge difference, but the 350Z does use bigger axles. As you can see, these are loose as fuck in there. I did go get a little overzealous on this. You can kind of see it there. We're kind of at the limit of what Gemini says for wear on this, but it also says just run thick oil and you might not notice, or it might blow seals and whatever. But yeah, I can see why no one does this, because it's a lot of messing around. We had to slowly just lay down the axle stubs, because these are much longer. It's for a wider diff, and these will make contact to each other if you just put it in, and they won't seat right around there on the journal. They'll sit around here if you put one in fully in that one. So this material, though it may look like it's really reduced, it actually is now flush with the vlsd when it's in here. So because you can look inside and you can see it's right flush with the splines, so it's not actually weakening the potential grip of the splines, because they're still getting their max amount of engagement. But yeah, thought it was kind of interesting, and a lot of work to get to this, but I think it's going to work, and I think it's going to be pretty fun. Yeah, now we get to cut these down and make them the same as this. On this one though, we're saving both ends, so we'll just cut this off somewhere right before the taper, and then we'll cut this around here. Well, on this one we'll probably cut it here, and then we'll lay down that, and then we'll have a nice lip to weld on. We'll make a male and female so they really fit into each other nicely. And yeah, we'll probably go a little bit tighter on this guy here, because our CV axle, I noticed when it's in there, it's at max compression when it's on. So we're probably going to bring it in another 1/8 of an inch, and then we'll have it pretty nice for having still a little bit of play when it's at full compression, which will be ride height. So we don't really want to be preloading the snap ring on the CV axles when it's at ride height. But yeah, before I ramble on too much, comments, concerns, put them on down below. If anyone's ever done anything like this, let me know, because it'd be interesting to see your approach to it. But other than that, we are going to cut our axles, and then we're going to get new bearings and new seals, and we'll give this a honest college try to keep it alive. But other than that, smell you later.